Hi, my name is Mellie Valencia, and today I'm going to be talking to you about, are the teenage reproductive laws harmful to teenagers? So to begin, what am I even talking about? I did some good research on this topic, so I feel like I'm qualified to share. I'm talking about access to contraceptives like birth control, condoms. I'm also talking about sexual education and how that affects the teenagers. This is important to realize because society, lawmakers, and parents have the ability to make decisions on a minor's reproductive rights. And sometimes they can make the wrong decision. So, as minors, we need to know our laws and how they are protecting us. So, the current teenage reproductive laws are, for the most part, protecting minors. Some people believe that the laws are acceptable and do not harm teenagers, and this is not true. The laws which require parental notification or consent put teenagers at more harm than the alternative solutions. These laws should protect minors and give them better access to education, contraceptives, and support from their parents. One law in Texas states that if a teenager is married, they can qualify for birth control without any notification of a parent. Now, if the minor is already married, going to their parents about getting birth control is not going to be the scariest thing. However, the problem with this law is for the sexually active minor that struggles to go to their parent for birth control. Sometimes teenagers will try to find alternate solutions to be safe in that moment, but most of the time, this is by doing nothing at all because they have no resources. It is also good to note that male contraceptives are accessible, and that is a good thing. The double use of contraceptives also help prevent unwanted pregnancy. Contrary to accessing birth control, if one partner does happen to catch an STD, the minor does not need the parent's permission to get tested. But the doctor performing this test may contact the minor's parents. This decision lies within the doctor's discretion and what they feel is right or wrong. To teenagers, this can be scary. Just the thought of a doctor telling their parent that they went to go get tested for an STD. So their chances of getting tested can be lessened. Unfortunately, in Texas, teaching minors about sexual education is not required. The education includes teaching students about contraceptive forms, the different types of sexual intercourse, sexually transmitted diseases, HIV or AIDS. In addition to this, President Donald Trump and his administration pushed heavily for abstinence only education. Because of this, in 2017, Texas received over $7 million in abstinence only education. However, statistics say that many teenagers will engage in sex less when they are presented with the contraceptives and knowledge than those without them. According to Stagner Hall and Hall, out of the 48 states that they studied, 21 states had a level 3 education level of abstinence. Level 3 was the highest pushed of abstinence laws in the state. So Texas was in the level 3 range, and the teenage pregnancy rate was per 1,000, and they were in the high 90s. You can see right here, over here in the high 90s. A state in the level 1 range, such as New Hampshire, was in the low 30s. So you can see the abstinence rates and what they recommend can highly vary. So New Hampshire's down here, and Texas is all the way up here. So many of the minors said that they would change their behavior if parental consent for contraceptives were required. Also, a large portion of them, nearly half of them, stated that they would stop visiting family planning services if parental consent were to be enforced. Savigny goes on to provide statistics that explain when parental consent is required, the birth rates actually rose. Also, it is important to note that if a teenager does get pregnant and they have to go through the mindset of considering an abortion, no matter where you stand on the pro-life or pro-choice spectrum, everyone can agree that we do not want a minor to go through this. They can experience depression, loneliness, helplessness, and many other things after the abortion. It is more than likely that we do not want them to go through this traumatic experience alone. So the teenage reproductive laws here in Texas, while some cases could be worse, it could be better here. The laws are not the best here in Texas due to needing parental consent in some aspects that there are no need for. For example, obtaining birth control is difficult for minors because they need their parents' permission. If the teenager is not open with their parent, this will be harder. Since the Texas laws do not seem to be changing anytime soon, the best thing one can do is provide support for a minor who may need help going to their parents. And this is my works cited.